Happy fall, everyone. It's me, Jason Perry, with Trident Shield. I'm the CEO and founder of Trident Shield, and also the founder and lead pastor at Patriot Crusader Mission, a church, farm, and mission here in Johnson City, Tennessee. It's been a long time since we checked in with you, and this is our first holiday event in a long time. And this is 6 tips to keep your kids safe during this trick-or-treating season. So Halloween's upon us, and 2022 has been one of the most violent years in our country's history. So we need to take extra special caution while we're out there, from everything from the fentanyl epidemic to violence all across our country. Carjackings are at an all-time high. Murders are at an all-time high in a lot of cities. I mean, it's getting rough out there. So if you're going to be one of the people who's brave enough to go out there and trick or treat, here is 6 tips that you can follow to help make sure that you and your kiddos have a great Halloween. So the first one is choose your environment. Okay. Choosing your environment is really important. You should, if you're living in a bad neighborhood, that's not where you should be trick-or-treating. You should go to a safer neighborhood. There are a lot of neighborhoods, and you'll see them. They're the ones that are dressed like graveyards, and they'll actually compete with better over decorations and who can outdo one another. There are entire neighborhoods that do this as their thing all year. This is what they plan for. I'm not one of those people, but these people are. And, go into one of those neighborhoods, they're usually closed off. They don't, because you don't want a place that's got a lot of traffic or a lot of crime. So you want some place that has low crime, slow moving traffic, and little, not a lot of cars zooming around everywhere. All right. So, those are some great places in choosing. And like neighborhood developments, closed communities will often open themselves up to let young kiddos come in there and trick or treat. And that's a smart thing to do. The other thing is, wherever you're going to trick or treat, you should know who's there. And what do I mean by this? To see if there are any monsters walking around you. We walk around monsters all day, every day. And this is one of those times where you're going to have to see that. And one of those things is not the costumes, it's sex offenders. So I'm going to pull up here. I use familywatchdog.us. You can use, there are multiple different registries out there, but I am going to show you. This is my city. This is not my address isn't on here. I'm off of this, but this is Johnson City. Now, it may be concerning. Johnson City is one of the top destinations in the country right now to move. I think it was number 1 this month, and it was 3 in the summer. But Tennessee does a really good job maintaining their sex offender base. And a lot of liberal states and cities, they don't. But here in Tennessee, it is a robust, they're pretty robust at monitoring their sex offenders. So every one of these bubbles, as you can see, these balloons or pins, whatever you want to call them, we'll call them pins, is a sex offender, right? Now, what's important to know is they don't put murderers on here. They don't put manslaughter people. They don't put bank robbers on here. They don't put serial robbers or carjackers, only sex offenders, because sex offenders have the highest recidivism rate, meaning they're repeat offenders more than anyone else. Okay, so as you can see here, the colors in this code below it, you'll see that that the maroon and the light red are offenses against the child, and then the yellow and the orange are rape, right? So as you come up here, you can see there's plenty, and these bubbles are actually pretty great. And I'm going to go through quick so you can pull them up. It's got their picture, it's got their address, and then you can see what charge, statutory rape there, right? You go back and you can, go back in there and pick another one over. Let's try this one. This guy here, you got another one here, and you can pull it up and you can see his charges, and you'll see rape back in 2004, right? So you can see, how recent was their event, and you can see if they, are they truly a monster, right? Or are they someone who may have, someone who may have been 18 and dated a 16-year-old, and the parents press charges. So this guy here, if you pull up his charges, possession of a computer containing an image of child pornography. So we had child porn, right? So again, you can go on there and see who's around you. And if you live in an apartment complex or some other, a condo or a neighborhood where there's a lot of turnover, a lot of people moving in and out, I highly recommend you check the sex offender website once a month to see if you got, a problem moving next to you or in your neighborhood. The other thing you're going to see is that uh, most states, and again, I'm not sure this is nationally or not, sex offenders cannot do trick or treating. They are not allowed to have their light on. They're not allowed to hand out anything. They're not allowed to have contact with kids. So if you see someone who's a sex offender and they're doing that, by all means report them. And because they may be out, you may save a life or save some innocence from going on. All right. So again, number one is choose your environment, choose a low crime area, choose a place with with a low amount of cars moving slowly, and check your sex offender registry and go early, guys. Right. This is like any other event. The later you get, the more the more bad actors are going to be out there, right? So going early and trick or treating while it's still light out with all the little kids and their little cute things, that's when you want to go. So go early. So one, choose your environment. The next thing is number two, dress smart, right? The first thing about dressing smart is dressing functional. There are a lot of costumes out there that are that you can't see very well. You're in this big blow up inflatable thing looking through a little window, and you're pretty vulnerable in that, particularly the knockout game, maybe getting hit by a car because you're not paying attention or you can't see, falling down, tripping over something. I mean, there's a lot of the costumes out there are not very functional. The other thing you got to think about as well is footwear. Can you run if you had to? If somebody tries to abduct your kid or you, um, can you get away? Right? Or are you in one of these ridiculous costumes where you can't? Unfortunately, we let our kids, particularly our little girls, dress up in adult clothing far too soon, whether it be high heels or everyone wants to be sexy vampire or sexy devil, whatever, and sexy witch and God knows what else. And with that usually comes footwear that is not the easiest to run in or move in, right? So again, wear something functional that you can move or fight in if you had to defend your family, right? Particularly if you're dad or mom out there with the kids, you might be the one fighting for your kids when someone in a car, comes up because they get to wear a full mask, they get to wear a full costume so you can't even see who they are and they try to grab your kid. Do not be that parent who tried to dress up to be cool, who can't fight in their high heels, right? Fight for their kid. Don't be that person, all right? The other thing is weather appropriate. One of the coolest Halloweens we ever had in Boston is when it snowed. We had like a blizzard and it was awesome, right? But with some of these skimpy costumes, particularly when you get to young teenage kids or kids who might be out and they don't have adult supervision and they may be drinking alcohol and getting drunk and passing out, hypothermia. So again, wear weather appropriate clothing underneath so you don't get exposure, you don't get frostbite, you don't get hypothermia, you don't pass out and never wake up. All right. The other thing is don't wear anything controversial. There are a lot of costumes out there that could cause you to get into a fight. America is the most divided it's ever been since the Civil War right now. And if you want to get into a fight, there are costumes you can wear that will guarantee you do it. Do you really want to get into a fight with your kids there? Right. So again, or let your kid wear something that's going to cause somebody who doesn't have a filter to scream obscenities at them. So be smart, dress smart. That's number two. Number three, okay, is pack the right gear. Now, at the bottom of this list, there's a link to the Trident Shield Amazon store, right? And this list, you're going to be able to print it out, all right? We're going to put a link. You go to our website, and you can print off this list to put it on your door, and you can have it so you can go through and make sure that you've done everything. But if you go to the list, we get a small commission. We don't carry any of the stuff. We just recommend stuff that I use. I tell you what I use and I tell you what I don't use. Okay. So I'm going to tell you stuff that I use to protect my family. All right. So again, this list will be available, this whole list and that shop link, as well as several other links of products that we recommend, will be in the post that this will be in the description or in the bio, as well as you can go to our website, download a hard copy of this list. Okay. So the first thing I recommend is a minimum of 1,000 lumen flashlight. Okay. I use a Nitecore E4K 4,400 lumens. Okay. It's 1,100 lumen bulbs. It lights up the sky and it'll blind an attacker in a second. I recommend you have that as an EDC, an everyday carry item. But in particular, there's some others on there. There's a 20,000 lumen, which is like stadium lighting, okay, that you can light up a big backyard really quickly. Light is always a good thing to have, and you want to have light with you, okay? So if you're a mom or dad taking the kiddos out, pack your backpack or strap this to the stroller so you have what you need. The other thing is you should have a good solid pepper spray. I use SABRE Red, okay? I use SABRE Red 3-in-1. And I also use SABRE Red bear spray. Okay. I like the bear spray for vehicle safety, because you can put it out and it'll throw 25, 30 feet. If there's a protest trying to keep me from my family or, someone trying, to cause trouble, and I have that. But I like the 3-in-1 on my keychain. I'm always armed. I carry a firearm, I carry a knife, carry a multi-tool, but I carry a pepper spray because sometimes it's just better to spray somebody and move on than have to, go and really harm them, because pepper spray is temporary, right? So 3-in-1 is really good by SABRE Red. I absolutely love it. It's a police strength pepper spray with mace as well, OC. And then an ultraviolet dye. So if someone's immune to pepper spray, which a lot of people who eat hot, spicy food are, the other component, the other OC will get them, okay? And then I also have on my keys, I carry a heavy carabiner. That's also in the link in the store. And while I'm doing this, I'll pull up see if I can pull up the store. Yeah, well, I don't think I can do them both at the same time, but let me actually, here's what I'll do. I'll show you the store. Okay, so while I'm talking about here, so here's the Nitecore E4 K 4,400 lumens. This thing is awesome. I love it. This is another cheaper model. I try to give everyone something in a certain price range. This one's 1,200 lumens. Again, that's great. It's not your Walmart 300, 100, 400 lumen flashlight. Those are useless. And then this is the one that's awesome. It's the Nitecore 20,000 lumens, which will really light up the sky. The other thing here that I'm going to talk about is that bear spray, or here's the SABREs. This is a 2-in-1. I try to put in our store multiple options. So if you want to just buy one at $9, you can do that, or you can buy a double pack, or depending on size. These are smaller sizes, larger size here. That's called the tactical size, meaning it has more volume and it'll spray further. This one here is a home defense unit. So again, thicker and it'll throw slightly further. And then here is the bear spray that I actually carry on my 4-wheeler, because we do have bears, but I actually have it in my car for thugs, right? So again, I can't recommend it. I put one of these in each of my car doors. I have one by my front door of my house. And then I have one in my side-by-side that in case we do come across a bear right on our property. So again, fantastic stuff. Here's the heavy carabiners I was talking about. Really fantastic. They can really work well. And I travel a lot. And when I travel a lot, I use these carabiners as improvised brass knuckles. So you don't hit like that with them. You hit them like a hammer fist with your thumb reinforcing them. So you can grab them in the middle, put your thumb on the end, and you hit it. These are heavy duty ones, and they're 5,600 pound tolerance. That means they're really dense and heavy. And when metal meets bone, bone gives way. So that's another great one there. Leatherman, you can't go wrong on our Leatherman. These are two of the Leathermans here. I did one in the high range, the 139 and the 189. Leathermans are fantastic. You're a multi-tool. You have a knife in there. You're just a handy person with one, right? I carry one with me everywhere I go. I have one in my truck. I have, one in the side-by-side, and I usually have one on me, okay? They're fantastic to have. The other thing is having a knife is actually a good thing to have, right? If you have to fight for your life and you don't have a firearm, a knife is a great backup option. This here is Black Ops CQD Mark One. This thing's a workhorse. I've had one forever. I beat it up. It's disposable. It's got a seatbelt cutter and a window brake on it. It's actually saved my life when I crashed my car. I crashed my car into a tree because, and the door was jammed, the airbag deployed. I couldn't open it. My seatbelt was stuck and my car was on fire. And luckily, I had this in my coffee cup holder, and I pulled it out of the console, cut my seatbelt, smashed my window, got out, went on my honeymoon the next day. Right. So again, really love it. If you want something more on the higher end, Benchmade makes some fantastic knives. There they are. And you can't go wrong with this little $34 neck knife by Off Grid Knives. Fantastic. Last ditch defense. If you got nothing, you can just reach up in your neck and pull it, and you get a knife in your hand if you had to defend yourself. All right. The pepper spray is also good for dogs, right? You guys are going to be walking around neighborhoods. Not everyone really monitors their dogs all the time. So having a really solid pepper spray can be phenomenal for dealing with aggressive animals, right? So again, let's see here. Leatherman medical kits. I put some medical kits in here. Just make sure your medical kit has a tourniquet and a dechoker. All right. You're going to have kids out there eating stuff, whatever. We have dechokers. We have one that we carry in our diaper bag, and we have our adult one in there as well, I believe now, because, people choke all the time. And those things are just miracle work because you just put them in, takes no skill, pull the plunger, and out comes the food that was killing the person. It's really a miracle worker. I can't recommend them enough. The other thing is these chem lights. You're going to want to put chem lights on everything, okay? If you don't, everyone should have a light on them just to make sure they don't get hit by a car so you can identify them and they're out there. So you can be aware of all your kiddos, depending if you got 2 kids in a stroller or you got 15 kids with you. Everyone should have lights on them to make sure a car doesn't hit them. I mean, people get killed every day with distracted driving. You want to give them every benefit of the doubt so they can see you and not hit you or your kiddo, right? So again, medical kits are great. The other thing that I always recommend is RESQME. RESQME is right here. These little things go on your keychain with your carabiner or whatever else you want. They have a seatbelt cutter and a window brake on them. A fantastic tool that you should have on you at all times anyways if you're carrying keys, just because it can turn you into a problem solver if you need to be. Absolutely love it. Your strollers, for those of you, we've got a 10-month-old baby right now. So we'll have a stroller. Our stroller is going to be lit up like Christmas. We're going to have lights all over that stroller because I want everyone to see it. The other thing is make sure it's tethered to you. Okay, so if someone tries to grab it and run away with your kid, you can do it, but also make sure that it's on Velcro. So if if your car's coming, you don't get dragged with it. If someone hits the stroller, if you can get the baby out and you're still attached to the stroller and you're getting dragged with it. So again, make sure it has a Velcro brake on it. All right. The other thing your medical kit should have should be a robust tourniquet, and both the medical kits that I recommended do have robust tourniquets in them. Okay. So again, a tourniquet is to help someone if they have, heavy bleeding, heavy bleeding. So again, last part there is, cover the strollers, make sure they're lit up. You won't regret that. And, strollers on the bottom are often great for that med kit or a backpack on your back with everything else that I said again. But step number 4 is have a plan. What if things? What if a dog attacks? Talk about what they should do. If a dog attacks, you got your pepper spray, right? You have all your kids have, follow local laws. I'm not telling you to break any laws, but if it's legal, have pepper spray, okay? Tell them to stay still or freeze if there's a dog, all the different things that you can do. And that's just one. Like if there's an attempted abduction, tell them that, no one is going to come for you. Like, I'm going to be here. We're leaving together. We're going to meet here. We're going to walk this way. We're going to meet here. If we get separated, meet back at the car or this light or one very obvious house that's very well lit, and have plans for what should happen if something bad should happen, like an active shooter or, something like that, a fire. Who knows what could possibly happen. But, if you don't talk about it, you're gonna have to create that original thought. So get them in the habit of problem solving before the problem happens. Okay. Um, Coach them not to go into strangers' houses. You're there, or if you're letting your kids go on their own, right? Tell them not to go in, come be on the outside of the house getting the candy. All right. And so that's that. Number 5 is know where your kids are, right? I mean, they're all carrying these dangerous tools on them, right? Most of them are. If your kids are old enough to have a phone, you should have the Life 360 app on it. I'm going to show you right here what the Life 360 app is. I have it on my phone. My wife and I use it all the time with each other. We're not like, if she wants to see where I am, she just pulls up the Life 360 and she knows exactly where I'm at. If I want to know where she is, I pull up Life 360 and where I know exactly where she is. So again, this allows you to do some amazing things. It'll tell you if they're in an accident. It'll tell them you have rapid deceleration. It does geofencing, so you can sit there and draw an area, and if your kid leaves that area, then it'll alert you. So if you say, hey, stay in this neighborhood, don't go any further, and if they leave, whether because they were taken or because they were or they broke the agreed upon rules, you'll be able to do that. All right. So again, know where your kids are at. In the store, I put some other ones in there for people who don't have like their kids are too young for phones. And what I recommend for that is, let me see if I can find it here, is this Optimus Track GPS tracker, which is this little black thing right here. And then Tracky is another version of it. You get $19.95. I think there's a subscription for each one, but this allows you to like pin it to your kid. Now, don't pin it on the outside of their coat where any creepo can see it, rip it off and do it. Pin it to an inside layer clothing, like the back of their shirt, down low, right, where it's not going to be in their pockets. So some creepo rifling through their stuff, trying to find if they get a tracker, make it hard for them to find it. Okay. So again, pin it to them, turn it on. And then with these apps, you have geolocating as well. So again, the geolocating feature is phenomenal. It allows you to set boundaries where your kids can be. And if they leave that, you're alerted. Again, whether a bear takes them, a person takes them, or they're just being a teenager and not listening. Okay, so know where your kids are is number 5. Number 6, screen your candy, right, guys? If you have any questions about candy, there's, the DEA put out a release on candy not too long ago. We've all heard about rainbow fentanyl, and I want to pull that up right now. And again, this is in the links, and it'll tell you'll go to the DA site. DA1's a brightly colored fentanyl used to target young Americans. It's real easy to think that these were candies or hard candies or something like that. Again, this is just one part of this. You can see them coming in different things. I'm not saying they're directly targeting the kids, even though some weirdo or some evil person could. It's probably just to hide them. But they have made them look like candies. There have been some big busts in Connecticut and other places where they are coming for kids, which is pretty terrifying stuff, right? So again, I've also in this checklist, I have the Poison Control Center on there. So if you think someone's been exposed to something that they shouldn't have been exposed to, you can pull the control center, 1-800-222-1222. All right. And then I also have the link. That's right here. And then you have the link under that. So that's all we have. Now, again, if you found this useful, please like and share. We just wanted to put out some life-saving tips that might keep somebody from getting into trouble or making some bad decisions. Again, taking martial arts and all those things, we encourage 100%. Martial arts have like a 98% dropout rate. And, the people who retain something after, shortly after leaving them, depending how long they've been there, is even smaller. But we can change you. We can train you how to think like a warrior, to be awake, right? To be empowered, to walk around this world, not in fear, but empowered, to see the world for what it is and to work to change it the way you want to be. All right. So again, this video is part of our initial launch of something that we're going to be launching in January called the Trident Shield Academy. Trident Shield has been around for almost 10 years now. We have trained Fortune 1000, Fortune 500, Fortune 200 companies. And now we want to help you. We do this because we care. Anyone who's seen our bio videos or knows our story, it's about that. And right now, one of the number one things in everyone's mind is safety. Okay, the crime is out of control. A lot of innocent people getting hurt. We want to help you, protect you and your family. So please subscribe to our Trident Shield channel and share this video far and wide. Go to our page, download this. We're going to put out a ton of lists from here on out, just free giveaways from us to you, so you can keep your family safe. God bless and have a happy Halloween.